Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to my forest.
It's perfect. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, great. Hello, and welcome to Run of Show, a podcast about the creatives in the running industry. In this episode, I chat with Emily Cameron. Emily is part of our Broken Arrow crew, and we had a lot of fun chatting. She's super talented, and I hope you enjoy this conversation. Welcome. Thank you for taking the time to do this with me.
Yeah.
So I'd like to start these off with a little bit about how you describe yourself and the work you do. I know you as a runner and a photographer, but how do you describe what you do?
I think it comes down to people, and photography falls second to that. And it's just, I always do most any activity, but if it's for career or activity, like physical activity, it's always just, it's about like, you know, who am I doing it with and who am I doing it for? And I don't know, that's just always brought me a lot of joy. So I think that's kind of like the baseline of my work, is it comes back to the humans involved with it. And yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
So, man, my next question was going to be what came first, running or photography, but you kind of nuked that question. What came first, humans or running?
So my parents were runners growing up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I grew up going to all the local like running races with them. My mom pushed me in a stroller until I was like 9, which is probably too long. But my real background's in swimming. So I did cross country, but swimming was like my main sport. But I've continued to run like basically my teenage years through college. And then more recently in the last like, I guess 5-6 years was trail running. So I think, runs deep in my family.
Okay, so were you swimming and running in college?
I swam in college for the University of Georgia. And then I ran to stay fit.
Cool, okay.
Yeah.
What was your event?
400 individual medley.
Whoa, fun.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a pretty gnarly one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and did you continue, I mean, you can't really continue that, I guess, after college, huh?
You can. I guess the way I kind of tell the story is I was part of like the top 1% of swimmers in the US, but I wasn't the 0.1%. And the 0.1% is what continues on to professional swimming. And I swam since I was 4. So I was really burnt out on my final year. I was like, I'm ready to explore other things. And so kind of triathlon was the next step to that. But yeah, I had no desire to continue. The black line was a lot for that long.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got into tri.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so were you just doing tri for fun?
I was trying to be a professional.
Okay.
I took a job working at the local running store, Fleet Feet Athens, which is the best place ever. And while I was doing that, I was also trying to advance my triathlon career, first in like short course, and then in like the half Ironman distance. And yeah, I was kind of exploring like Xterras as well, so like off-road stuff. And there was just a lot of different avenues that my brain was going with, like professional athleticism. And then COVID hit and sort of derailed those plans.
As it does.
Yeah, and that's sort of actually when photography came about.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so before we continue on, we didn't talk about this, but you grew up in Athens.
Yeah, I grew up in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I grew up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
And then how'd you end up in Athens?
Swimming.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that college or?
Yeah, so I got recruited to swim at the University of Georgia. And so I went down there for school, and then I've been there for 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then what did you study in college?
International Affairs and Political Science.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then now how does all this turn into you picking up a camera and getting into the creative side of things?
Truthfully, like, I mean, I wish I had the story of like, I was a little kid and I had the little, camera in my hand. That wasn't really it. It was, I played around with like video. I always was the one making the videos in college for like our retreats that we would do and things like that. But it really came down to during COVID, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to stay in Athens. I was like, is this the time to leave, explore other places? I've been here for, I guess at that point it'd been 8 years. And so I decided to go to the people in Athens to figure out why they had lived there for so long. And so if you've heard of Humans of New York,
Yes.
I started this thing called the Local Athenian. And it sort of started out with like random individuals. And then it started being the individuals I would interview would then recommend somebody else. And so then I would go to that person and I would sit down with them kind of like we're doing and then record the interview, transcribe it, and then take portraits of them and then publish it once a week. And so I did that for like 60 weeks over the course of, since November 2020 was when I started. And so, yeah, I just got connected with like the community on like a much deeper level.
Cool.
While also learning how to shoot. So I used a little Sony RX100.
Nice.
That was my first camera purchase. It was awesome.
That's a great camera.
It's a powerhouse. It's the coolest camera. But yeah, I started shooting then. So
Cool.
Yeah.
You know, I knew I liked you when you had the Sony girl in you. It's good, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of attribute that. I forget. I think somebody just, Jared Gruber, he's an incredible cycling photographer. I think he had it on a group bicycle ride in Athens. And he was like, yeah, this is an awesome little camera. And I was like, cool, I'll buy it.
That's the little compact one, right?
Yes.
That has like the lens that can zoom out.
Point shoot.
So this is one of the cameras I'm thinking about getting because
Yeah.
it's so nice to have on a run, and I
Yeah.
keep carrying this stupid heavy thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It's fantastic. It packs a punch. So
Yeah. Very cool.
yeah.
Okay, so then you were taking these photos, doing these interviews. I can see this like creative side of you now coming out. What did this kind of spark inside you? Like what was, like, you started doing it, I'm sure you were probably a little nervous at first.
Yeah.
Like, when did it feel like, holy shit, this is cool?
Somebody suggested that I shoot sports that I was interested in. And so because I had access to the UGA swim team from being on the team, I got the opportunity to shoot NCAAs, which was in Atlanta that year. And it's a big deal. But I got a credential because I had that connection. And I rented my cameras from lens rentals. I didn't know what I was doing, but I went off of what the UGA marketing department used, which was a Sony body and a Canon lens. And I just went to the meet and had no clue what I was doing. But then, I don't know, it was like, this is cool. I know the sport so well. And swimming's like such a unique sport in that I feel like shooting it is just, it takes a special set of eyes to understand like when to press the shutter button. And also like knowing what those athletes are feeling behind the blocks before they step onto them. And obviously like the finished photos are just like any other sport. But yeah, once I did that, I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really like this. And at that point I was working in a microbiology lab. And then that totally was like, that was just the first step. And then I think I shot Athens Twilight, which is a criterium race.
What's a criterium race?
A bicycle.
Oh,
so
crit,
it's like
a crit,
a
yes,
crit. Yeah.
yes.
So they just go in circles, and it's huge. It's like one of the biggest crits in the U.S. And I shot that, and I was like, okay,
This is fun.
this is really fun.
Cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So you were shooting a Canon lens on a Sony body. So
Yep.
you do manual focus that?
No, I had a what are those adapters?
Okay.
Yeah.
Whew, I was gonna say, damn, you
No.
picked a hard route to start.
No, but I when I finally went and purchased a Sony lens to go with my body, it was like a game changer. I was like, oh, this is what good images look like.
amazing.
Not to say, I mean, people do that all the time, right? But yeah, that was just what I was told, so I just went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Canon lens is known for its premium quality. So
Absolutely.
people always recommend it. But
Yeah, exactly.
when you have those whole ecosystem working together,
Yes.
the autofocus on the Sony system is so clutch.
Exactly. Yeah. This is a Sony ad.
Yeah. I mean, I am Tony with a Sony. I think
Yeah.
everything I do is a Sony ad.
Yep.
I don't think I've had anyone on who doesn't use a Sony yet.
Really?
No.
That's really funny.
Yeah, not by purpose. Okay, anyways.
Yeah.
Cool. So, so I met you here,
Yes, 2023.
Western States, previously, like the Western States kind of shakeout runs
Yep.
in 2023.
Yep.
So this is a few years after you had already kind of gone down that road.
Yes. When we had met, I was 6 months into a full-time freelance career.
Okay.
So yeah, I went from working in a microbiology lab to working for Specialized, the bicycle company, in like a web development role.
Okay.
And then they went through massive layoffs because of the bike industry kind of went downhill after COVID. And it was like the best thing that happened to me. And at that point I was shooting more frequently. I was doing a lot of different I was doing basically just running, swimming, and cycling. But then I would throw in the odd like portrait session, and like I was just like using the camera more often. And yeah, in January 2023, I got laid off, and my partner at the time, he was like, why don't you just go for it and see what you can like make of yourself? And yeah, I was like, let's see. And he had no idea what he was getting himself into.
Shout out to the partners out there, because
yeah,
it's not easy.
Yeah, no, it's that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, it's that was the start. So,
okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so going freelance is pretty nerve-wracking, I feel like.
Yeah.
Did you have hesitations, or were you kind of like, let's just see, let's try it out, I can always get back in the market? Like, what were you feeling going into that?
So, I think my whole, like from the time I graduated, even before that, I feel like my brain is just built differently. And I was never really intended to sit in an office. And I know like many people say that are in the like contractor, freelance, entrepreneurial mindset. But I don't think it even clicked to me that I could try to make it work for myself until I got laid off, because I was like, I either look for another job, but I also follow all of these people on social media that are living a life that I really admire. Why can't I too be like that, or live a life like that, you know? And I know that it's all glitz and glam on social media, and there's a lot now that I know that they don't show. But I don't know if I'll ever be able to step back into like a 9-to-5 necessarily. But who knows,
Yeah. It definitely feels hard to go backwards.
Yes.
I don't know if backwards is the right word, but
yeah, just adapting into a space like that.
Yeah. And especially having bosses again, and like,
yes,
kind of we're our own boss now. And even though we have clients that we work with, it's like still a little different.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now you've been freelancing for a few years, how has your business grown, or how do you even think of business?
I think I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah, it's a lifelong, I think, pursuit.
Yeah. Like I said, I wasn't like in college, I'm going to work for myself. My mom, she was an accountant, is an accountant, and she worked for herself. So like, I guess I was kind of around that, but it wasn't like she was hustling necessarily. So I think it just sort of was like, I sent out like, I must have been like, I forget what the number was, like 200 some emails, cold emails, when I first got started, the first 3 months.
Oh.
And just was like, hey, like, here's some images that I've taken. Like, will you hire me to either shoot your race or do some product work, or, literally just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what stuck. And I think I'm still kind of creating what will be a sustainable business, because I think how I view it is kind of going back to like life is, I don't necessarily view it as like, what kind of business do I want to grow? It's like, what kind of life do I want to live? And then build the business around that. So I love the life that I live currently, but I know it's going to change as I grow older, and there's other commitments and things like that. But generally speaking, I think, it comes down to like, what kind of life do I want to live? And then slowly making changes to my career to add or take away from that dream life, essentially.
So then what kind of life do you want to live?
I'm living it. I don't know. Like,
well, describe it.
Like, I obviously like travel is huge for me. Just because at this point, again, I have time, and I want to meet people, and like, it's amazing to hear how like you got to where you are, and like everyone around us as well. But it's also like the athletes too that I get to work with. I mean, again, it's like the first question. It's like, what is it? It's the humans, And like, I've talked to a lot of people in the local Athenian that are older, and they're like, I'm like asking them, what's the most important thing? And they're like, community. So it's like, within this career, it's all about cultivating community, be it with an athlete, with a brand, with other creatives, and then also cultivating that community at home. And home's very important to me. So like getting out, doing these things, but then being able to come back, recenter, and be at home and present with like the individuals that I really, really love. But then honoring and like respecting and keeping in contact with those that I met when I'm out doing these things.
This is a tough balance. I struggle with this all the time.
Yeah.
And I find myself having moments of my career where I've traveled so much that like I'm starting to almost know the trail community better than I know my own home community.
Yes.
And then I come back and then I'm like, I need to recommit to my home community. And I
Yeah.
like get back into my home community and get to know them really well. And then I come back to a trail event and I'm like, oh, I feel so detached from everyone.
Yep.
And it's this constant like
Ebb and flow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how do you think about that? How do you balance that?
That's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, because sometimes like up until honestly, like this weekend has been amazing at Broken Arrow. Like this is the second time that I've shot it, but it's just a different. I just walked in and I was like, I know people, you know, like, I walked in that first year and I was like total imposter syndrome. Like, what am I doing here? Like I was so new to the sport, and like this year, and it's just like, okay, I know people, I feel comfortable. And the other thing is just like communication. It's like communicating with those friends back home constantly and, you know, keeping them up to date on travels. But yeah, I think sometimes a lot of it's in your head too, you know, like, do you feel comfortable in the environment that you're in? And yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you said you sent 200 emails out to cold reach. I'm curious, like, who were you targeting? Certain companies? Like, what, like, where did these cold emails come from? Like, what gave you the decision to like reach out to this particular?
A lot of them were race directors.
Okay.
A lot of them were brands that were in the cycling, swimming, and running worlds. I mean, I was literally researching like marketing directors and just like
Finding emails.
Yes.
Wow. I
Yes.
applaud your email scouring abilities.
I think I said it's like a fine line between like annoyance and persistence.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't want to be annoying, but you need to be persistent, because
yeah.
if they keep seeing and this worked in my favor, like the further I got in my career, because they saw the email. They were like, hey, we don't need anything right now, but reach back out in X number of months. And then by that time I had a better portfolio. And they're like, oh, she actually reached out to us before. Let's see what she has to offer. But yeah, I think it was just, again, me figuring out like who would hire me, where am I best suited, where are my skills best suited, and what kind of work do I thrive with creating. So
you've maintained this like cold email or outreach kind of, that's like your marketing strategy, so to say?
Not so much. I think 2023 was very heavy with that. And then 2024, it was more, I'd say like 60% cold emails, 40% incoming. So that was a really cool switch of just like, hey, do you want to shoot this? And yeah, I was like kind of shocked last year. I was like, okay, like that was the first full year of like 2024 was truly the first full year of freelancing. So it was like a really good indicator of like, can we keep going or can I keep going? And so now this year I've probably sent out up until this point, like 20 emails, but my work, the projects are larger. So I don't find myself trying to find that odd, like $500 job. I'm looking for larger, more meaningful, longer, more deep projects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that great too. I feel like I'm in there too as well. And it's not only nice to have something you can put a little bit more of yourself into instead of having a bunch of small things you have to kind of split yourself up with.
Yeah.
But also forming those relationships with the client, forming those relationships with maybe the athletes, if that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But growing together,
Yeah.
I think is super great and makes it all feel way more worth it and meaningful.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, what would you say how has your business like changed you? What have you like learned? How have you grown because of being a freelancer?
I think it's helped me communicate better. It's self-advocating better. My best friend Abigail, who's an artist athlete, we talk a lot about business, talk shop a lot. And a big thing is like, self abdicating for your work and for what you're worth as a creative, and knowing the value that your work brings to either an athlete or a brand or a client of any sort. So I think that's the biggest takeaway, and it transfers over into like personal life too, and just knowing like your worth as a human being, you know. And I don't tie the two together because I think they are very separate, but it has given me a lot of confidence to speak to a group of individuals or pitch a project. I'm notoriously not good at public speaking, and it's helped me like be able to sit on a Zoom call with like 3 marketing directors, a creative director, and be like, this is what I want to do. This is the vision I have, and I'm able to articulate it well. And I didn't know I had that in me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So then I think this is a good kind of segue into creativity, talking to marketing directors and all that. So how do you think of creativity? Like, what is your source of inspiration, let's say? You know, like, where do you get your fuel from?
Well, I mean, I feel like I told this joke the other day. It's not a joke really, but I like to find the hole.
Okay.
I look for the hole in a lot of shots of if I'm blocked or if there's something in my way. It's like a lot of times in all the events that we shoot, regardless of the sport, it's like there's a lot of us there. And it's like we all are technically getting the same shot. So there's a lot of effort to figure out how to be different. And so I'm always looking for the hole.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm always trying to find the hole. And a lot of like my favorite shots come from the hole.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll explain it to the audience a little bit more why this is our inside joke. But before we do, I think it's something that Scott and I talk about a lot, and something Scott mentioned even in our kind of group Broken Arrow media chat of like, you know, everyone likes to stand right behind the finish line, but there's always good shots at different angles. And it's like, maybe try something new, you know, maybe it's not, I have this crazy photo of just like 50 of you guys at the finish line, us guys, I should say, at the finish line, from the 26K. And I was like, yeah, they're all getting the same shot. But, you know, there's a lot of awesome things. One of my favorite shots ever was early on in Western States. I was on the other side and I shot into the media, and it's just like this giant media corral, right, with the finisher right there. And it's like actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so there's always other kinds of shots. And I think finding the hole is such a good metaphor for what we do, not only as photographers, but also finding our own niches in the world, and you know, figuring out how to work with brands. Like, it's all about just finding the whole, but finding like how you can work with the people, fit in,
Exactly.
do all that, you know?
Yeah.
So anyways, talk to me a little bit about your time in Paris, and how you use this metaphor for life to crush your time in Paris.
Yeah. So I shot U.S. Olympic trials for swimming, and I had this in the back of my mind for a couple months leading into that, which was June of 2024. I shot that, and it was incredible. And I was like, oh, what are the chances that I can get a credential to shoot the Olympics? Because I know some athletes that are going, and I was like, this shouldn't be that hard, right? And so I put a feeler out on my story on social media. I'm like, if any brands or athletes or anybody is looking for work from the Olympics, please reach out, or like connections. And I'm like, what an idiot looking back, you know?
The committee is, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I probably got like 40 responses that are like, this is amazing. I'm like, I'm so glad you think this is amazing. But like, how do I get a credential? You know, like
useful information, people.
Yeah. Like, I appreciate the applause. Like this, I'm also very excited, and I still didn't have a ticket. And that was like July 16th. And I was sitting at home in Pennsylvania with my mom on the porch, and I was like, do you think I should do this? Like, do you think I should just book a flight to Paris and just go and like figure it out? And my mom's like my biggest fan. Like, I love her. Both my parents are, but she's just been such a huge part of my journey. And she was like, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, you should do this. And so like I go on Delta, and there's like a $1,600 flight, and I was like, okay, we're gonna do it. So I booked the ticket for like July 25th, which was like 8 days later. And I'm on the plane over there, and I hate flying. As much as I travel, it's hilarious. But I'm like surrounded by people going to watch the Olympics, and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Because like as a swimmer, I had these like high hopes of going to the Olympics. And then to be like, knowing that I'm like doing this, I'm like fulfilling a dream in a way that I just never would have guessed. Like never in a million years would I have been like, I'm gonna shoot the Olympics. Like never. So yeah, I land, and I'm actually lucky enough to stay with a former teammate was a member of the USA swim team. So I stayed with his parents. So I had a free place to stay, which was incredible. And then I put a budget on tickets, and I found a third-party website that was selling like secondhand tickets essentially to events.
Amazing.
That got shut down after 8 days. But I got all of my tickets during that time frame. So the most expensive ones were swimming, and I only went for two sessions of that. But I got to shoot fencing, skateboarding, BMX, track and field, what else? Mountain biking, the time trial for cycling, triathlon, incredible, and the closing ceremonies, which was mind-blowing.
So cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so then talk to me a little bit about that experience. So you, obviously the Olympics is an insane amount of people all there to watch, people to participate, like there's so much going on. How do you walk around with your camera and like figure out how to get the shots that you're envisioning?
Well, I had done this, I had done a deep dive into like the media policies, and they were very strict.
Yeah.
Like they had like, I forget what the focal length that they were allowing into all the venues. But then later on, after the second day of events, I realized that it totally depended on the security officer that you went through for each event. So I would bring my 70 to 200 because obviously that seems, and my 24 to 70. But I never knew if I was going to be able to like get that in or not. Mm-hmm. So I also had my Sony RX100. Mm-hmm. And so in situations that warranted me or didn't allow me to bring in the longer lens, I would bring in the point and shoot. And I would be going up, behind people and just like
finding the hole. Yes.
And then I would stash the lens somewhere, like hiding in a bush. Like
Really?
I
You just hide it in a bush?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Because I couldn't go back all the way to my Airbnb.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so
of
like,
course not.
Like no one, I didn't actually tell my mom this because she probably would kill me if she knew that. But yeah, like there's a park right next to where a lot of the main events were at. And I stashed a lens there during BMX. So yeah.
That's wild. Oh my God.
Yeah. But when I was able to get it
goodness.
in, that was incredible.
Yeah.
Because then I was like, who needs a 400 or a 600? Like I can throw that baby in crop mode and try to get in as far as I can, but also like give context to, like, I was an outsider, I was a spectator.
Yeah.
So that gives a different perspective than all the other photographers who were in those specific positions around the events.
Yeah.
And to me, that was pretty unique. So yeah, that was, I was like a spectator, but I was on the periphery. Yeah.
So what's the title of the book?
Paris on the Periphery.
So I feel like not only are you finding the hole as in like literally where can you stick your lens, but more also like, again, finding your niche in this crowded field of photography and media that is the Olympics.
Yeah.
And they're all, sitting on right in the front row with crazy 600, whatever, 800 millimeter lenses, on the athlete or just on the field.
Yep.
But you are getting more of this whole experience, right? That is what it's like to attend the Olympics, which I think is really cool. Yeah. And different, again, finding your own niche in this wild field. So it's very cool. Great work.
Thank you.
I hope for anyone out there, please look her up, her book. I don't know how many you got left to sell.
I think like 5, but I can order more. So
okay, good. Yeah. Good. So where did you print it?
It was printed in New York. But I worked with a designer in Athens, Mark Babcock. He's incredible. And so, I had basically like the idea for the book came from an Instagram message that someone was like, you should make a book, I would buy it. And I was like, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
I knew very little about what it takes to make, a really amazing photo book. And I think if I had the opportunity to do it again, I would probably maybe do some things different.
Yeah. Can you give me an example of like?
I really love Corey Richards' book, Bipolar. It's incredible. It's like a mountaineering photography book. But a lot of what he incorporates are journal entries. So his handwriting is in it, and I journal quite a bit. I write a lot. And I think including like my actual words from those days in Paris would have made like an incredible addition to the book versus just the images with a little bit of like, copy to start each sport. But I had like detailed, like, this is what my experience was. This is the person whose arms I shot through from behind them, or like, got stopped by a security officer and like my bag was searched and all the things. It's like things like that just make maybe the book more relatable too.
More human.
Yeah. Yeah. More human.
Very cool. Yeah. I love that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Yeah. I was just giving me my ideas in my own head as you were saying that. But the book still is really cool.
Thanks.
And, I hopefully I can get a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You unfortunately ran out of them before I could come and do this, but
yeah.
Very cool. Okay. So, something we talked about that I think, plays into this is your love for paper and like real paper products, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Which is kind of why you get to the book.
Yeah.
So tell me about this. Like, have you always kind of wanted to print things, or, as a photographer, so much is digital?
Yeah.
What has been your relationship with physical?
I have hung paper. I've hung paper, like prints, magazines. I've hung things on my wall since I was like 9. And having that like physical item, and I still do it to this day. Like if you walk into my bedroom, it's like, is this girl 30 or is she like 16? Cause I just have like, like Polaroids, and like, I just have like memorabilia, and a lot of those are photos. And so that, I think, if anything, that brings me back to like photography. Maybe that is like that attraction to like prints or just like that physical image, because that has been so important to me, like for as long as I can remember. I just didn't ever dream that I would also be creating those images, if that makes sense. So yeah, I love purchasing books like that, and I love having those books like out and about for people to look at, because it's like if they come to the house, they're on the coffee table, it's just like, oh, what's this, And yeah, it's just special.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about your journaling practice too. Do you use real journals?
Yeah.
Physical journals? Okay.
I think in my favorite, I'm very picky with my journals.
Okay.
Like Moleskino's great, but they're tough. They're like stiff. And so I'm currently using one called, I think it's Rhodia, but like, it's like a little bit flimsy. But I like also when they don't have lines and it's just dots, cause you can like, I don't draw, but sometimes I'll like doodle and like to associate something with like a memory here and there. But yeah, I've journaled probably since I was like maybe a freshman in college is when it really started, or a little bit before that, but pretty much every night. I write I write what I'm grateful for and what I struggled with, and then a little blurb about the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
So you think this plays into your creativity at all? Like, do you feel like you journal, does it help bring stuff out, or?
Yes. Yeah, I think it does. Sometimes I think I get a little tired. And I have all these ideas floating around in my brain constantly. And like, you only have so much time to like pull the journal out, write it all down. Like if I had it with me all the time, I probably would be like a genius. But like, yeah, I know it's like it's how I wind down in the evenings. So, yeah, there's definitely some ideas that have come from those moments for sure.
Cool. To keep on this trend of this topic of physical versus digital.
Yeah.
How do you feel that the digital world, social media in particular, plays a role in? I can already see you getting some good topics out of this. It plays a role in your creativity, plays a role in your career, in your business, in your love of photography.
That's tough. I hate Instagram, but I love it. I'm a big fan of things that I don't like, but they're functionally good to have. And for this career, Instagram is it serves a function, and I've gotten a lot of work off of Instagram. But I think one thing that I try, I have like a time limit, and, but I think when I'm posting things, I'm pretty intentional with it. And I know people are just like, you spend that much time creating a post, and it's like, if I'm gonna spend time on this application on my stupid cellular device.
What are you, 80? Cellular device.
Something like that. If I'm gonna already be on it, let's make it look unique, you know? So I do a lot of weird things. I manipulate photos. I don't do it in Photoshop. I manipulate photos like within another app. But yeah, I like to flip photos, mirror photos, stack them. And I like it, and I think it's a little different. And at this point in my career, I'm like attracted to that type of thing. But I do really think that Instagram has gotten me more connected with a lot of people. But it's the only form of social media that I have. So yeah, I don't have TikTok. I haven't taken a deep dive into that. I don't have Twitter, and I do have Facebook, but I don't ever use it. So Instagram is like, it's the focus if I'm gonna have it. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What comes easy to you in this line of work, and what do you struggle with?
I would say meeting people, communicating with people, connecting with people comes easy. What I struggle with is the actual business part of it. And you come in as a new photographer, and I don't think it's just me, as we kind of chatted about, but you have no idea what to charge. You have no idea what it looks like to build a business beyond just being like an individual photographer. And then you start to meet people, which again is like my strength. And you kind of learn like, okay, do I like what they're doing? Do I see myself kind of pursuing that line or that way of life? Or do I want to go this way? But I think the business part is hard, like making a living that is sustainable and, truly growing. I think it takes a lot of intentional effort and decision making, and also meeting the right people at the right time.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
What do you feel like would be, like, what are some things you feel like would really help, or like maybe some things that are missing, some things you haven't found yet, like that could help with this particular side of our career path?
I think just the removal of like gatekeeping with conversations like these, like transparency about pricing. And this isn't just with like trail running, it's like across the board. Understanding like licensing and usage on a much deeper level. And I think it depends on what area of photography or video that you're in. It's gonna obviously put you in a deep dive if you're in a different area. But I think it's amazing to have conversations with creatives who are willing to just kind of be open and vulnerable about that side of things. And not just the glitz and glam of like, I'm a photographer in the outdoor industry, And I think mentorship is huge too, even if someone's not like, I'm gonna be your mentor. Like, you don't have to come out and say like, you are my mentor, but like, again, just having repeat conversations and like spitballing ideas back with someone who respects your work and sees the value in it, and that you have the ability to grow, and they see that in you. And I think when you when someone says something like that, or like you have someone like that in your life, you're like, okay, like all it takes is one person to believe in you. And then you're like, yeah, that was like my previous partner. Like he was like, let's see what you can do. And I was like, cool, let's go. And that's the first step, Yeah.
Yeah. So did you have, you just mentioned your partner, you said your mom's a big influence. You have any other mentors that you can think of that really helped?
Yeah, Abigail, my best friend, is a huge one. She's been an artist for longer than I have. So I've been around people from afar too, where I've watched and I've observed and just kind of tried to figure it out based off of what they do. But having a best friend that's in that world and being able to talk about, well, what do you think of this? And can we combine our resources and build a business together? And it's just like, it comes back to that type of situation. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So what's got you inspired these days? People or certain things you've seen? Like what inspires you right now?
I think it comes down to what does inspire me these days.
I know it's a good question.
Yeah, it is a very good question. I feel like everybody wants to be different. And
You're trying to be sane.
Sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel to be different, if that makes sense.
Totally. Yeah.
And so I think someone said that to me once, and I was like, that makes sense. Like, you don't necessarily have to invent something to be something incredible. But I think if I just keep doing what I'm doing and being my authentic self and bringing that to my work, then it seems like the jobs continue to come. And I don't know if that's just the universe working in my favor. I've said it to people, it's like, life is so good, and when is it going to stop being good? Because it seems like the peaks and valleys are just never ending. But I mean, the peak, it just keeps peaking. And so I'm like leaning into that, and leaning into that flow. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
This kind of ties into what you were just saying.
Yeah.
How do you see the future of your career going?
Yeah. I think I'm still figuring it out. And I think the doors, I'm still stepping into, if that door is open, I'm stepping through it. I'd like to get to the point where I know which doors are going to open. Mm-hmm. But I'm 2.5 years in, and I think I'm still figuring out, where is my niche? Do I need to specialize in a certain sport? Mm-hmm. Do I want to delegate and, build some sort of like production agency? Mm-hmm. Is that something that interests me? I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I think, again, the more that I meet and work alongside people and I see like how it affects their life as a whole, and if it's sustainable, and if they're, thinking that when they're 60 years old, they're going to be truly looking back on their 30s and be like, I'm happy I did that. Those are things that like kind of impact my, like, yes, I want to take this job, or I want to go after this job. I think those are like the bigger questions that I'm asking. So.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So last actual question.
Yeah.
Who else should I talk to? And now that we've had this conversation, who do you think would be a good person to peep in their ear about this?
Let's see here. Trail running specific?
Doesn't have to be. Running, I'm trying to do more intersection of running and creativity.
Yeah.
So trail running, road running could just be part of what they do. Like, you are more of a swimmer.
Yeah.
But you're obviously here doing trail running stuff. So
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to put Abigail on the spot because.
I totally agree.
Yeah. I think she has a very unique platform. Like, we were out running today, and she's taking pictures of flowers along the trail, and that will inform her art and her prints that she will make, which is incredible. Mm-hmm. So I think she would be an amazing person because it's a really amazing intersection of the athletic and the artistic side of your brain.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was thinking that too, and maybe one of the people I'll ask this week if I end up having time. But that is, she's great.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Photography wise, who do I want to learn more about?
There you go. That's a great question. Yes.
Yeah.
If you saw my podcast feed and I interviewed X person and you got super stoked, you're like, oh my God, I want to listen to that. Who would that person be?
Oh man, there's so many. That's the problem.
I know. I know. There's a lot of great people.
Yeah.
Sure, give me a few or one even.
I would like to know more about Scott. I think his journey is very he's been in the sport for so long. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a very interesting I think we got a little bit of it, but I would love to know like a little bit more in-depth version of it. And I think finding someone like Kristen, someone very, very, very new. Mm-hmm. And like they're like, you're right on the brink of like do I want to make this a full, like, is this something that I really want to do?
Yeah.
You're like right on the brink of it. Whether it's Kristen, or just, someone that's just really starting to make their, first footsteps in the trail running world. I think that would be really interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for doing this with me.
Yeah.
This is super fun.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Awesome. Well, I'll see you out there on the trails. That's it. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please reach out to me and tell me what you think. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.